Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to 5 Question Friday, where we answer 5 questions that you've sent into us from Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, questions that we pull out from our consulting sessions, questions that you email us. We have a 5 Question Friday form on our website, and many of you fill that out and send your questions in. So this is the show where we answer those questions, and I'm coming at you live from a very gray but not super cold Croatia. It is not January anymore, thank God. January felt like it took forever, and it's already the 7th of February today, so it feels like February is flying by. And I mean, I'm kind of so thankful. I feel like once January passes, it's like, okay, we're in that home stretch to spring and Easter. Easter is such a huge deal here in Croatia. I mean, it's a huge deal for all Catholics, but it's this sort of stretch to Easter is like what keeps me going through this gray, gross weather. Not that I'm complaining, even though I'm complaining, because as you all know who know that I am from Canada, I mean, I'll take this over a -20 wind chill any day of the week. We've got some great questions for you today, but before I jump into the questions, I wanted to share with you a little bit of how I've been keeping myself busy now that it's the new year, and I've already mentioned Easter. And one way that I sort of prepare for spring and Easter is that I write pisanice, which are Easter eggs, and I use beeswax and candles and do it in a real old-fashioned way, which is a tradition here in Croatia, but it's also a tradition in other countries. But I thought I would share with you. I've made 2 this year so far. So I've got, let me make sure I'm showing it the right way. I've got this one that I just did. So that was my first one of the season. And then I did this one this past weekend. Oh, and it just fell and it just cracked. Okay, I'm going to put this one very gently and watch what I'm doing. Oh no. All right. Well, it was my first one of the season, so it's just a practice one. Hey, Tiana. It was -21 in Kitchener, Ontario this morning. Yeah. Yeah, I don't miss that. I don't miss that. I hope you were able to stay warm and that your car was able to start for work this morning. All right, let's dive right into the questions. Don't worry about my egg. Like I said, it was just a first one of the year. It's kind of the first pisanica of the season is kind of like the first palachinka. It's sort of just a throwaway, but yeah, I'll dive into the questions, and as I host, which will be a couple more times before Easter, because Easter's pretty late this year, so I think you'll see me 2 more times before Easter. I will share with you any of my new pisanice if you're interested. If not, then you're just gonna skip this part because I'm gonna show them to you anyways. Welcome. Let's get started with the first question, which actually ties into a question that Sarah answered last week about whether you can take driving school in another language. Somebody was asking specifically about English and Italian, but that prompted another question that came up in a consulting session from Lorena, and she says that her nephew was in a situation when he moved to Croatia and enrolled in driving school. So he is a Croatian citizen, but he doesn't speak Croatian. And so, these courses are long, they're in Croatian. And if you don't speak Croatian, you have to have a translator with you. But here's the catch. Because he's a citizen, he's not allowed to have a translator at the exam. So when Daniela looked up the part about this in the Narodne novine, it apparently stipulates that only foreigners can bring an authorized court translator. So this can be a problem because there may be a lot of diaspora who already have their Croatian citizenship coming back, and especially if they don't already have a license, they have to go through the driving school, and without a translator, if they're not fluent in Croatian, this could be quite challenging. So again, just an add-on, you can check out Sarah's episode from last week where she talks about it in general, but I wanted to answer this question this week and tie it to last week's question. So this is something that's available to foreigners only, not to Croatian citizens. So please keep that in mind. I'm seeing some messages here about the pisanice, which makes me think that that you are interested. Alexandra, can you organize the online masterclass on pisanice? Probably not. I'm definitely in no way, shape, or form, able to run a masterclass. But yeah, it's you can look up some of the techniques. It's a really beautiful tradition, and in Croatia they do it a lot of different ways. It's really cool. It's really cool to watch, and it's really cool to do. Okay, so thank you for that question. The first question, we do have some guides pertaining to driver's licenses in Croatia. So we've got the how to exchange your foreign driver's license, which I would highly recommend you do if you fall into that category. Get it done before your first year of residence. It's pretty simple, a little bit of legwork, but a heck of a lot easier than taking the driving school, which could potentially be avoided in certain situations. So I highly recommend you avoid it if you can. And then how to get a driver's license in Croatia, including driving categories, as well as our guide to taking driving school or autoškola in Croatia. If you need links to these guides, there's a number of ways you can get them. If you're watching on YouTube, the links are down below. If you're watching this on Instagram, send us a DM or leave a message, leave a comment in the video after it's been recorded, and I'll send that your way. Because when you guys message during the show, these comments don't stay. So if you need something, shoot us a DM or send us a message after the fact. All right. Oh, this next question, I'm so excited for it. It comes from a friend called Steve. You know who you are, Steve. And he asked, what the heck does Zagreb mean? As someone who has been having a love affair with this city my whole life, this was a great question, and I was so excited to put it on my roster for answering. So here's what has been found out with the research. Thank you, Daniela, by the way. So while there is no literal translation in modern day Croatian for the word Zagreb, there sure are some pretty cool theories. And I invite anybody who's watching, if you guys know any other theories or stories or legends about our beautiful capital city, Zagreb, I encourage you to share them in the comments. I would love to know, but these ones are really neat. So the first one is the legend of Manda. And this tells how a military leader once asked a girl named Magdalena to scoop water from the drought-stricken area that is now Jelačić Plac. And the word to scoop is zagrabiti. And it is said that the city got its name from that. So there's one theory. The second is that the name Zagreb is thought to come from the Proto-Slavic word grebsti, which means to scrape. Now, there's also a legend that says that the name comes from the metathesis, I don't know how to pronounce that word, and that's the English word, of Zabregom, which means behind the hill. However, most historians today agree that the name Zagreb has its roots in the compound Zagreb, meaning a place by a fort or a place by a hill. So that seems to be like the major consensus amongst historians. Now, there's been a theory that's recently been gaining some acceptance. I've never heard this one. This one was really cool to me. So before the establishment of the Zagreb diocese and the settlement on Kaptol Hill, there was a Benedictine monastery dedicated to Saint Gabriel. So if we sort of shift that Saint Gabriel, San Gabriel, Za Gabriel, and they say that that's how the name Zagreb originally ultimately originated. Which that's a pretty cool one too. So if you have any insight into these theories, I would love to hear them. Here's a cool fact. Zagreb has like this poor city just can't stick with one name. I mean, there's so much history here, obviously, but it has changed its name 19 times throughout history. I had the whole list here. I am not going to read the whole list to you, but I did pick out a couple of my favorites. Zagrabia, pretty cool. I think that's kind of cool. That was the early 1200s. And it was listed this way on under a bishop's estates. So it was listed as Zagrabia. And then, of course, Agram. Many of you probably know and have heard Agram, and that's circa the late 1500s. So those are my two favorites. We've got some guides about Zagreb. One is 19. I think it's 19 things to do in Zagreb when it rains. There's so much to do in this beautiful city. If you've never been here before, I highly recommend coming, and like not coming during Advent, like come some other time. Zagreb is this really special city. It's not like there's like these, you must see things in Zagreb. Zagreb is the type of city where you should just be. Just go, get lost in the streets, walk through different areas, sit in a cafeche, people watch. I mean, can you tell that I love this city? I really do. So thank you so much, Steve, for asking that question. And I'm so glad that we got to explore it in 5 Question Friday. All right. Our third question today comes from Mary, and it came out of a consulting session. And so she asked, if my ancestor was born in Croatia while it was still a part of Italy or Austria-Hungary, can I still apply for Croatian citizenship? And the answer is, yeah, you may be eligible for citizenship if your ancestor was born on what is today modern territory of Croatia. Now, there are different stipulations other than just that to see if you qualify. So to qualify for citizenship by descent, which is Article 11, you have to have a Croatian ancestor connected to you in a straight line who permanently left Croatia to move abroad. So this can be a parent, a grandparent, a great-grandparent. Basically, you can go as far back as you can prove, which is pretty cool. So there's no limit anymore. There used to be a limit to how many generations you could go back. But as long as you can prove the connection and that they emigrated abroad, you can go back, as far as you can go back. Now, as I said, there are other qualifiers and disqualifiers, which dictate whether or not you can apply through Article 11. And you can read that whole list on our guide. So check out how to apply for Croatian citizenship by descent or prirođenje. The link is below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're catching this on Instagram, shoot us a DM and I would be happy to send you the link. We also have a little quiz on our website where you can it can help you determine whether or not you qualify to apply for citizenship by descent. And if you'd like the link for that, just send me a message and I will send that to you. So Mary, thank you for sending that question. We're chugging along. I'm seeing some of my colleagues logging on. I see my mom. Hello, everybody. Hello. Okay, this next question comes from Vishnya through Instagram. How do I apply for a Croatian ID if I live abroad? Great question. So if you have Croatian citizenship, every Croatian citizen can get a Croatian ID card. That means that you can get a Croatian ID card even if you don't have legal residence in Croatia. So that means diaspora who have citizenship living abroad can get an osobna iskaznica, which is what it's called here in Croatian. But you would have your foreign address on it. So you wouldn't have a Croatian address. Even if you come here all the time and your baka lives here, you can get that, but you have to get it while you are here. So the consulates and the embassies don't issue them. So when you're in Croatia, you can go to the local MUP, the administrative police station, and you can apply for an osobna iskaznica, and they will issue you one with your foreign address on it. Guides. We have a Of course we have a guide on how to do this. So it's how to apply for a Croatian ID card and osobna iskaznica. Again, link below if you're watching on YouTube, and leave us a comment or send us a DM if you would like it sent to you via DM. I can do that for you. Thank you, Vishnya. Great question. I know lots of diaspora who have an osobna with their Canadian addresses on it. I'm Canadian. I know lots of diaspora in Canada. It's a pretty cool thing to have your Croatian ID card. All right, we are just chugging along here. I see so many people that I know. Hello. Hey, Antonella. Lovely to see all of you on this Friday. Like I said, so happy it's February and it's not January anymore, because it felt like January had 1,000 days in it. But I hope you're all doing well. All right. I think this is our last question. I just flew through these. I hope I didn't fly through them too fast for you. I hope you're enjoying the episode and finding the questions and answers helpful. Here is our last one for the day. This one comes to us from Mark, and the question is, for non-EU citizens who own property in Croatia, how long does it generally take to get approved for the 1-year boravište, the 1-year temporary residence? And can one submit the application remotely? That is, before arriving to Croatia. Mark, this is a great question. Thank you for it. I'm going to start first by explaining what this temporary residence permit is, just to give a little bit of context and along the way answer your questions. So, in the Foreigners Act, temporary residence can be granted for something called other purposes. And other purposes is sort of this catch-all term, and owning property ownership falls under this term, and so it's temporary residence based on other purposes. And so here are some of the details about this permit. So you can only get temporary residence for 1 year using this basis. You cannot work in Croatia. It's not renewable, meaning you can't get it back to back, but you can apply for it again after 6 months and 1 day has passed. The property that you're using to apply for this basis needs to be zoned residential, and you must live in it. There's no minimum purchase price to qualify. If you're married, you both need to be listed as owners. And it's important to know that not everybody can purchase property in Croatia. So there has to be a reciprocity agreement between the countries. And for countries like Canada and the States, it actually goes one level deeper or further. And there has to be reciprocity agreements between the states or the provinces. So that's really something to be aware of. Now, where you apply for this residence permit depends on whether or not you need a visa to enter Croatia. So if you need a visa to enter Croatia, then you must apply at your local Croatian embassy or consulate. If you don't, then you have to apply at the local MUP station closest to your address, to that address. You cannot apply online for this one. For the digital nomad permit, there's an online application. You can't apply online for this one. You have to do it at your local administrative police station. In terms of how long the applications are taking, well, listen, it's really hard to say. I mean, 3 to 6 months, but I'm banking it's closer to the 6-month mark, and also depends on what time of year you're applying. If it's the time of year where MUP is very much focused on getting work permits ready for the season, it gets a little bit busier. MUP is understaffed and overworked, and so patience required. But I guess on average 3 to 6 months, but everyone's situation is a little bit different. So Thanks for that question. It was cool to explore that temporary residence permit on the call. I don't think I've talked about that on one of my 5-question Fridays. I'm sure Sarah has. But that's the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found the questions and, more importantly, the answers helpful. I will be back in a month. So the plan is that I will do usually the first Friday of every month. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. I got a message that the audio is not in sync with the video, so I hope that that's not what everybody is experiencing, but thank you for letting me know. And thank you all for being here. So as Sarah would say, Sretan petak, happy Friday. It's time for the Croatian goodbye. So let me think if I've forgotten anything or need to add something. No. Hello, ciao, Maxim. Thank you for being here, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Ciao.